Joining me now is Congressman Randy Fine, a Republican from Florida. Congressman, good to have you with us today. I don't know how you guys put up with this foolishness coming from the other side of the aisle, sir.
Look, it's crazy. I mean, to get lectured by the same people who think boys can become girls and who told us that if you magically stayed 6 feet away from people, you couldn't catch COVID, but at 5 foot 11 inches, you could. I mean, it's insane. These people lost the high ground on so-called science years ago, and I'm grateful that President Trump and Secretary Kennedy are reclaiming that ground for science and, frankly, for common sense.
Yeah, Congressman, I'm curious what you think the big headline coming out of today's hearings might be. I mean, the Democrats being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars by Big Pharma, or quite frankly, the weaponization of the HHS under the previous administration.
Well, I think it's an all-you-can-eat buffet of bad things. I mean, you can talk about the deniers of science fighting back. They have used science as a cudgel to actually fight science. Again, these are people who believed that cutting the body parts off children is science, that there are more than two genders. These people are delusional lunatics, and that's part of it. But then the other issue of all the money involved. And look, President Trump has said the days of the United States funding the world's drug companies are over, that we're going to pay our fair share, and so is the rest of the world. And I think that Senator Kennedy speaks to that. But Senator Kennedy is also focused on the underlying causes of health issues. It's not all about drugs. I mean, it's about the ingredients that we put in our foods. It's the way in which we live our lives. And he's focused on a holistic view of science that does not fit with the way that we'll call the drug science industrial complex has made their money. He's an existential threat to the current order, and that's why they fight back so hard.
You know, I'm excited about what's happening in your state there. The Surgeon General announcing a plan to abolish not just the COVID vaccine, but all vaccines in Florida. Again, giving moms and dads the decision over what their kids are, what's going to their kids' bodies. What do you think about the Surgeon General's move there?
Well, I think we have to be careful. Look, the problem is saying we shouldn't have vaccine mandates is fine. But, you know, you've got some sort of wackos out there who basically say taking the polio vaccine is a bad idea. And so the problem is like anything. The tools can be used for good and they can be used for bad. And we saw with the COVID vaccine where people were lied to take it, saying if you took it, you couldn't catch COVID, which was a lie. But we also have to remember that we've got decades and decades and decades of vaccines that do work, and it worries me when I see some of these radicals back home start to say, you know what, it's okay, get the measles. I mean, that's dangerous. And so we don't want parents to be forced to give things to their kids, but we should also tell parents there are good times to do it as well. And I'm troubled by some of the ridiculousness that I see in Florida.
Congressman, I want to switch gears. Your Thump bill, I think it's a brilliant name, and I'm curious about the intent of the Thump legislation.
Well, it's to do exactly that. It's to send a message to these protesters that think that they should be okay with blocking roads. Here's where this bill came from. Protesters do not have the right to block a road. That keeps a pregnant woman from getting to the hospital. It keeps a sick person in an ambulance from getting to the emergency room. It keeps parents from getting their kids to school or adults from getting to work. If you want to have a protest, have it, but keep it out of the street. And what this bill does is says something very simple. If you block someone and they feel unsafe, they can run you over, and that's going to make a thump sound. We passed this under my leadership in Florida a few years ago, and we don't have protesters block roads in Florida. We need to bring this great idea from Florida to the rest of the country, and that's what the Thump Act does.
Well, I think it's a great move, great idea, Congressman, and you're right. No problems in Florida. Go figure. Congressman, got to leave it there. Thank you for joining us on Newsmax this evening.